For 31 years, the galaxy mocked him. From the Vashtari warship, Emperor Vialcor sneered at the sleeping human relic. The Krelnek's warlord laughed as he stomped on a human flag, calling Marshal Caldwell a coward who ran from battle. The Thursday Mod priestess chittered to her congregation. The sleeping coward is the galaxy's joke. Humanity has no protector. Then, in a sterile medical bay on Earth, a single alarm cut through decades of silence. Cryopod RC-441 was waking up. The pod hissed open. Blue frost rolled across the floor, flooding the chamber with icy mist. A scarred figure lay inside. Marshal Ronald Caldwell opened his eyes for the first time in 31 years. His gaze was calm, unwavering. The medical team froze, staring at their screens. Before anyone could speak, every holographic newsfeed on Earth flared red. 3 simultaneous transmissions: the Vashtari Empire, the Krelnek's Horde, the Thursday Mod Collective, all begging for peace, unconditional surrender, reparations, disarmament. The words scrolled across every screen on the planet. No one understood. In the cryo bay, the old marshal simply gazed at the ceiling. The mocking empires had yielded without a single shot, and no one knew why. 31 years earlier, Marshal Ronald Caldwell was not a myth. He was Earth's most decorated commander, and he was dying. A degenerative nerve disease had no cure. Only cryosleep could halt the decay until science found an answer. Caldwell accepted the long sleep, but before surrendering, he sat at his desk and wrote 3 letters, each to a different empire.
They will call me a coward. They will mock the sleeping relic. That is exactly what I need them to do.
He sealed each letter with wax, the old-fashioned way, then handed them to a trusted courier. 3 ships departed that night. The letters arrived at the alien courts within days. The emperors read them, then laughed. The human was desperate, they thought, but they did not destroy the letters. Caldwell kissed his wife's photo and lay down in the cryopod. The medics sealed the hatch. Blue frost swallowed him, and the years began to count. 31 years of silence. The mocking broadcasts continued. Earth never retaliated, never explained, and the 3 letters gathered dust in alien vaults. Now, in the chaos of the peace declarations, a junior analyst at Earth Command found an anomaly. A requisition for 3 diplomatic couriers dated the day Caldwell entered cryosleep. 3 letters, 3 empires. The connection was thin, but undeniable. Whatever Caldwell had written before he slept, it was enough to make the galaxy beg for peace. The years turned, 2298 to 2329. With each passing decade, the alien empires grew more aggressive, and their mockery more vicious. Emperor Vialcor sneered on a broadcast. The sleeping human relic. Perhaps we should send him a blanket. Warlord Gorthak stomped a human flag. Your champion is a frozen corpse. Humanity is defenseless. Priestess Lysara dismissed. The sleeping coward is proof. Humans abandoned their greatest to die in ice. Earth remained silent. No response ever came. The mockery festered, a wound in galactic discourse. But in 2329, a quiet breakthrough in a Geneva laboratory changed everything. The disease that had claimed Caldwell now had a cure. Dr. Alara Voss verified the results. Complete nerve regeneration. The sleeper could wake. Earth Command convened. The debate was fierce. Revive the Marshal, or let the mystery remain asleep. The order went out. Cryopod RC-441 was to be revived. After 31 years, the legend would open his eyes. In the vault, the frost-covered pod waited. The countdown began. The mocking empires had no idea what was coming. In the Earth Command control room, General Marcus Hayes stared at the cryopod feed. Dr. Alara Voss stood beside him, arms crossed, waiting.
If we wake him, we may unleash whatever threat those letters contain. We don't know what he promised them.
The disease is cured, General. He has a right to his life, and perhaps he's the only one who can explain this chaos.
Or he could make it worse. Those empires begged for peace the moment his pod opened. That's not gratitude, that's terror.
Terror of a man who's been frozen for 3 decades. What could he possibly have written?
Hayes exhaled slowly. The decision was above his pay grade, but the command was his to give.
All right, begin the revival, but keep a full security detail on him at all times. I want answers, the moment he can speak.
Dr. Voss nodded and turned to her team. The cryopod was moved to the revival bay, its frosted surface gleaming under surgical lights. Monitors blinked to life. Nanite serums were prepared. The 11-hour revival sequence began. In the frigid pod, Caldwell's vitals flickered. The countdown stretched across every screen. The sleeper was coming back, and the galaxy held its breath. The nanite serum glowed blue as it entered Caldwell's veins. Across the galaxy, hidden sensors triggered silent alarms. In the Vashtari court, Emperor Veilcor's laughter died. His mandibles clicked with sudden terror. The sleeper was stirring. Warlord Gorthak froze mid-stomp. The human flag flickered out. He rasped to his advisors. "Find the letter. Bring it to me." Priestess Lysara's tendrils stiffened. The organic screens displayed the biosign of the waking human. She chittered in dread. The Vashtari invasion fleet, primed for war, received an emergency recall. All ships were to power down weapons and prepare peace terms. On the Krelnek's volcanic plains, war machines ground to a halt. Warlord Gorthak broadcast a single order: retract every insult, or face the consequence. The Thursday Mod bioships retracted their weapons' tendrils. Bioluminescence shifted from aggressive red to serene blue. Peace broadcasts began.
He's not even conscious yet, and they're already pleading for mercy. What did he write? What could possibly be this terrifying?
In the cryopod, Caldwell's fingers twitched. The nanites worked through his nerves, but the galaxy was already reshaping itself around his awakening. Priestess Lysara sealed the peace document. All 3 empires had agreed. Unconditional surrender was the only way to survive the waking legend. The revival sequence ended with a soft chime. The pod's hatch lifted, mist swirling. Marshal Caldwell sat up, his scarred face betraying nothing. Across every human world, holographic screens blazed. Emperor Veilcor, Warlord Gorthak, and Priestess Lysara knelt, offering total surrender.
Marshal, you are safe. You've been asleep for over 3 decades. But please look at this.
She extended her datapad. Peace terms scrolled endlessly. Caldwell's eyes moved over the text, but his expression remained stone.
So they remembered the letters. After 31 years of mockery, they remembered. Good.
You are not even a little surprised. 3 empires just surrendered without a fight.
Surprise requires doubt. I never doubted they would yield. They had decades to consider the alternative.
The medical team exchanged glances. The marshal spoke like a man who had set a clock, not a threat.
He mapped this out before cryosleep. He engineered peace for the whole galaxy from a hospital bed. Who has that kind of leverage?
Caldwell leaned back, his gaze distant. The Empire's terror was now Earth's shield. The letters would stay buried, and the galaxy would stay still. Within hours, the galactic press erupted. Awake and unfazed read the headlines. Every media outlet demanded to know, what did the Marshal know? General Hayes summoned Caldwell to a classified debriefing in the Earth Command Citadel. The room was ice cold with tension.
Marshal, I need you to explain. Right now, 3 empires are dismantling their war machines because you blinked. What did you threaten them with?
I appreciate the direct question, General, but the letters are a private matter. The peace is real. That's all that needs to be said.
Private matter. You've turned the galaxy inside out. We have a right to know what's keeping them in line.
You have the result, General. That's more than anyone had yesterday. Trust that I know what I am doing.
Dr. Voss placed a steadying hand on Hayes's arm. The general exhaled, recognizing the brick wall before him. Meanwhile, the empires acted. Emperor Velkor personally oversaw the decommissioning of the Vashtari battle fleet, offering the ceremonial blade of surrender. Warlord Gorthak, the flag stomper, bowed before an earth emblem and transferred enough resources to rebuild a dozen colonies. Priestess Lysara broadcast a personal apology, her tendrils trembling as she swore eternal alliance to a waking giant who still hadn't said a word. General Hayes requested a second, more private meeting. This time, it would be in Caldwell's own quarters. No staff, no logs.
Marshal, we know about the letters, the courier records. We need you to level with us. What did you promise those empires?
It wasn't a promise, it was a statement of fact. I wrote down exactly what would happen if I woke and certain conditions weren't met.
What conditions, Marshal? What could possibly terrify 3 interstellar empires into unconditional surrender without a single shot fired?
That, Doctor, is between me and them. The letters are sealed. They know I keep my word. That's all the galaxy needs to know.
Damn it, Caldwell. You are asking us to trust a threat we can't even verify. What if they call your bluff?
They won't, because it's not a bluff. 31 years of mockery proved they were terrified of the day I'd wake, and here we are.
The silence in the room was absolute. Dr. Voss looked away first. General Hayes stood rigid, then slowly nodded.
They don't need to know the weapon. They just need to know it exists. Fear is the most efficient shield.
With a final, silent look, the general and the doctor left. The marshal sat alone, the weight of the galaxy's peace resting on a secret he would carry to the grave. Within a week, a classified memo leaked to the galactic press, Caldwell's death letters. The galaxy erupted with wild theories. Some claimed bioweapons, others whispered of hidden fleets. The truth was unknown, but the fear was universal. In Earth Command, General Hayes received an encrypted transmission from the 3 empires. The subject line was the same. The letters. Do not open the letters. We will maintain the peace indefinitely. Any breach of the seal will be considered a provocation of the highest order. Hayes stared at the message. The empires were now protecting the secret more fiercely than Earth. 2 days later, Caldwell was quietly reinstated as Marshal Emeritus. No ceremony, no announcement, just a handshake and a new mission. He began advising Earth Command's strategy, his experience shaping the new era of peace from the shadows. The galaxy watched, a nervous equilibrium settling. Empires dismantled weapons, and humans walked without fear, all because of a man who refused to speak. Yet the questions never stopped. What did the letters say, was the question on every lips, but no answer came. The Marshal continued his work, a silent sentinel. The secret would hold for now. A faction in Earth's civilian government grew louder. They argued the letters were a danger, not a shield. Open them, they demanded.
They've scheduled a vote, Marshal. The Civilian Council believes we have a right to know the contents.
Tell them to stop. Opening those letters will dissolve everything I built. The peace depends on the seal.
They won't listen to a man who hides behind a wall of silence. You need to give them something, or they'll force the vote.
Word of the impending vote reached the empires within hours. Their response was swift and unprecedented. We, the unified empires, declare, opening the letters is an act of war. Maintain the seal, or face total eradication.
My God, they'd rather go to war than have us read those letters. What did you put in them?
The same thing I put there 31 years ago. A reason not to test me. Let the vote happen. They'll see.
The civilian council convened. The vote was called, but as the joint alien threat echoed through the chamber, every hand fell. The motion failed. The letters would remain sealed. Caldwell had not moved, not spoken publicly, yet the galaxy obeyed his silence. As the others departed, Caldwell sat alone once more. The peace held, but the world had glimpsed the terrible cost of its own curiosity. 3 weeks after the vote, a rogue Krellnex warlord broke ranks. His fleet descended on the human colony of New Haven, weapons blazing.
Marshal, a Krellnex warlord has attacked New Haven. Gorthak says he's gone rogue, claims ignorance.
Send a single line to Gorthak. Your warlord just voided your empire's survival. Fix this now.
The message reached the Krellnex throne room within seconds. Warlord Gorthak read it, and his rocky face drained of color. He didn't hesitate. Within minutes, his guards seized the rogue warlord. A galaxy-wide broadcast was prepared on the human colony. The Krellnex warships abruptly halted their assault, weapons powering down. Their commanders surrendered without a word. The broadcast showed the warlord on his knees. Gorthak personally delivered the execution stroke, then faced the camera. A single tear rolled down a Krellnex soldier's cheek. The lesson was clear. Even the slightest defiance meant absolute annihilation.
They killed their own, on your word, without a trial, without even asking for proof.
Proof was never required. They know the alternative. This is what the letters bought us, absolute certainty.
Weeks passed. Caldwell settled into a quiet routine, daily briefings, strategic advisories, then long silences in his quarters.
You know, Marshal, I've never seen anyone so feared and so alone at the same time.
She's the only one who dares sit with me without asking. The others see a weapon. She sees a patient.
He reached for an old photo, his crew from decades past. Faces of the fallen stared back, young and unburdened.
My family. We were going to win the war, then retire together. Only I made it to retirement.
I am sorry, Marshal, but they'd be proud, seeing the peace you've built.
Proud? They'd ask if the cost was worth it. I still don't know the answer.
The next day, he lectured young officers on strategy. The weight of his secret was invisible, but palpable. The peace held, but the mystery remained a silent wall between him and the world. Only Dr. Voss dared to breach that wall, bringing him tea and silence. In her company, the Marshal allowed himself a sliver of humanity. The galactic press, hungry for sensation, unearthed an old classified report. A legation, Caldwell ordered a strike that killed civilians during the Proxima campaign.
Marshal, the press has the Proxima file. They're calling you a war criminal. You need to issue a statement.
No statement will change anything. They can believe what they want. My duty is to the peace, not to my reputation.
The news spread like fire. Pundits debated. Crowds protested. Some saw a monster who threatened genocide. Others, a necessary evil.
They're tearing him apart, and he just sits there, letting them. Does he think his silence protects us, or punishes himself?
But on the alien thrones, the reaction was the opposite. The emperors watched the human scandal and trembled harder. Word came from the empires. The peace offers still stood. The reparations would double. Even a war criminal was feared beyond measure.
They're not backing off. If anything, they're more terrified. The monster story only makes him seem more capable.
Or maybe they know the real him, not the headlines. The truth of the letters is the only thing that matters to them.
Caldwell, alone in his quarters, looked at the old photo again. The faces of his dead crew asked no questions, but the weight of their judgment was his constant companion. Late one night, a coded transmission arrived for General Hayes's eyes only. Its origin, the Vashtari Imperial flagship. Emperor Vailkor's voice trembled with desperation. "I can tell you part of what the human wrote. Grant me asylum, and I will reveal enough to save your species."
Asylum. The Emperor who mocked us for decades now begs to hide behind our shields. What could be so terrible?
Hayes recorded his reply with steady hands. Earth does not betray its treaties. The Marshal's terms stand. The Emperor's final transmission arrived minutes later. "Then you are all doomed. He is more dangerous than you know." Hayes summoned Caldwell to his office that same hour. The air was thick with unspoken accusation.
The Vashtari Emperor offered a glimpse of the letters if we gave him asylum. I refused.
You did the right thing. Nothing they could say would change the situation.
Damn it, Caldwell, what are you? They're more afraid of you than extinction.
They have good reason. And so do you, General, for trusting me.
The next morning, Caldwell summoned General Hayes and Dr. Voss. His decision was swift and irrevocable.
I will address the galaxy in 48 hours. No more silence. Let them hear it from me.
Are you sure, Marshal? This could spiral out of control if you are not careful.
It's been spiraling for 31 years. It's time to land it.
The galaxy ignited. News feeds blared. Marshal to break silence. Every screen on Earth lit up with the countdown. In his quarters, Caldwell sat at his old desk. With a fountain pen, he began to write the most important words of his life.
I brought tea. You know you don't have to do this alone, right?
I've carried this long enough. It's time the galaxy knows what kind of man they've been dealing with.
He's finally going to speak, but will he tell the truth, or just bury it deeper?
48 hours later, the press conference stage was set. The galaxy held its breath, waiting for a legend to finally speak. Trillions tuned in across the galaxy. On every human world, crowds gathered before massive holographic screens, holding their breath. In their thrones, the three emperors watched with visible dread: the Vashtari insectoid, the Krellnex brute, and the Thursday Maud priestess. Each remembered the letters. They had mocked him for decades, but now they prayed that the Marshal would not unleash the horror only they understood. The doors of the press hall opened. Marshal Caldwell walked onto the stage alone, his scarred face illuminated by a storm of camera flashes. No guards, no aides, just an old man in a simple uniform, carrying a single sheet of paper. He reached the podium and placed his notes down with deliberate care. The sound echoed through the silent hall. He raised his head and looked out across the sea of faces, the floating drones, the countless cameras. His deep blue eyes held no fear, no anger, only the cold, quiet certainty of a man who had already won. The galaxy held its breath. The silence was so complete that the faint hum of the holographic systems seemed loud. And then, Marshal Ronald Caldwell leaned into the microphone and began to speak.
Before I slept, I sent each of those governments a private letter. The letter explained, in detail, what I would do upon waking if certain conditions were not met. They ridiculed me publicly because they could not risk ridiculing me privately. I want to thank them for their patience.
He folded the single sheet of paper and stepped back from the microphone. The silence in the hall was absolute, every soul frozen. Then the dam broke. Journalists surged to their feet, shouting questions that would never be answered. Caldwell raised a hand to still them, then turned and walked away, his back straight, unburdened by the storm behind him. In their distant thrones, the three emperors slumped with a shuddering relief. He had not said what they feared. Warlord Gorthak wiped sweat from his brow, his rocky hand trembling. The horror had not been unleashed, not today. Across the human worlds, crowds stared at screens in hushed awe. He had confirmed everything and explained nothing, and in that nothing, the galaxy found an unbreakable peace built on a secret that would outlast them all. In the hours that followed, every word of Caldwell's speech was dissected, debated, and mythologized. The galactic press churned, but no new answers came. A joint statement from the three empires. Marshal Caldwell is a man of his word. We will honor the peace in perpetuity. We retract every insult of the past. Earth's sovereignty is inviolable. The letters remain sealed by mutual consent. Publicly, the emperors praised Caldwell as a trusted guardian. Privately, their intelligence channels buzzed with a single directive: never provoke the human.
He did it. Without giving away a single shred. The old man played the whole galaxy and won.
He played them 31 years ago. Today, he just showed them how thoroughly.
In his quarters, Caldwell sat alone, the folded speech still in his hand. The weight of decades lifted, leaving only exhaustion.
They don't need to know the threat. They just need to believe it's real. Now they do.
The galaxy settled into a fragile but enduring peace. Warships were scrapped, colonies rebuilt. Aliens and humans mingled in cautious trust, and at the center of it all, a scarred old man who had weaponized silence and left the universe in awe. A week after the speech, Caldwell called for a public ceremony. The location, the deepest archive of Earth, where the letters would rest for 2 centuries. He carried the 3 original letters in a simple case. General Hayes and Dr. Voss flanked him, along with a silent honor guard.
Let history judge me. In 200 years, the galaxy can read what I wrote. Until then, let this vault be the guardian of our peace.
The vault door swung shut with a deep, resonant clang. A digital timer flickered to life. 200 years. The timer began to count down from 2 centuries. The room was silent, except for the soft hum of the chronolock. The galaxy watched through countless cameras. For a moment, every faction, human and alien, shared a single thought. The mystery was now eternal.
He locked away the most dangerous secret in the galaxy, and everyone thanked him for it. Only he could pull that off.
Now the secret belongs to time, not me. I've done my part. The rest is for the living.
The vault sat deep beneath the earth, silent and patient, holding the answer to a question the galaxy would carry for generations. The galaxy moved on, but the question remained, a faint hum beneath the peace, a secret waiting to be born. Year after year, Marshal Caldwell returned to the lecture hall. Young officers leaned forward, hanging on every word of the man who had stared down 3 empires.
Remember, the strongest weapon is not the one you fire. It's the one your enemy believes you will fire.
After hours, he would sit with Dr. Voss in his quarters, tea cooling on the table, and watch the stars, no words needed. The 3 empires became Earth's closest allies. Trade routes flourished, interspecies festivals lit up planets, and children of all species learned a common history. A Krellnex hatchling learned human poetry. A Vashtari youth studied Earth military tactics. The Sleepy Thursday Maud choir sang ancient lullabies together. The Marshal never spoke of the letters again. No one dared ask. The vault remained sealed, the peace unbroken, and the legend grew in silence.
This is enough. A quiet room, a good cup of tea, and a galaxy that sleeps soundly. More than I ever expected.
You did it, Ron. You actually did it.
We did, Elara. We all did.
14 years passed. The galaxy thrived under the watchful silence of a man content to fade into the background. His greatest weapon never fired. His secret safe at 81, Marshal Caldwell died peacefully in his sleep. The galaxy mourned. His funeral was broadcast globally. Draped in Earth's flag, his casket was carried by soldiers who once served under him. Alien emperors stood beside human leaders. Veilcor, Gorthak, and Lysara, once his mockers, wept openly. He was buried on a quiet hill. The headstone read, RC 441. Flowers from every world lay at its base. The cryopod became a museum centerpiece, a silent monument to the sleeping marshal and his unspoken power. A bronze statue was unveiled in the Capitol Square. Children looked up in awe at the scarred face, now eternal. The peace endured. Former enemies became allies, their pact sealed not by treaty, but by reverence. Deep underground, the letters remained sealed, waiting for 2529. The mystery outlived the man. The galaxy moved on, but never forgot. The legend of the letters was passed down through generations, and Caldwell slept. His greatest victory, a peace that required no words, only a promise kept in silence. In the year 2529, deep beneath the earth, a chronolock ticked its final second. The vault that had guarded Caldwell's secret for 2 centuries hissed open. A young historian, selected by the council, reached into the darkness and withdrew the 3 aged envelopes. The paper was brittle, the ink faded, but the words were still clear. She began to read, and her expression shifted. Her lips parted in silent shock. The other archivists leaned in, their faces draining of color as they passed the letters around. No voice dared speak the words aloud. The room was suffused with a revelation too immense for language. Beyond the earth, in the silent void of deep space, a supernova erupted, as if the universe itself had been waiting to exhale. The light of a dying star washed over the galaxy, the same galaxy that had lived in fear and peace because of a secret now finally unlocked. No broadcast was made. No official statement followed. The letters were resealed, classified for another 200 years. The galaxy remained at peace, but now it also wondered what could be so terrible and so powerful that it had commanded the silence of empires. Marshal Caldwell's secret did not die with him. It simply deepened, fading into the hum of stars, a legend forever unproven, forever true.